the hope is that we will turn this into this. A nightstand for my son, of which he absolutely needs. So we're just going to start by cutting our side pieces that are 24 inches long. And we're going to need 8 of them, this side and this side. So 8 pieces at 24 inches. And you all know, as well as I do, that I can't make a YouTube video without making mistakes first. Yep, I forgot to plug my saw in. That's okay, because absolutely nothing else is going to go wrong. Are you serious?
I had it all planned out!
So not only did I forget to plug in my saw, but I also forgot to change the depth stop on my miter saw. So, yeah, there's that. Now, save these because we're still going to use these on the rest. Or at least that was the plan. You'll see. Side note, I leave these little parts in that sound like a chipmunk because my kids think it's funny. So here, I'm just roughly cutting the edge, really honestly just struggling with a chisel to try and flatten that edge as much as possible. In one of my videos you might have seen, I did end up getting a planer, but through this one I just struggled with a hand planer that eventually broke on me. So yeah.
What follows is a brief construction montage. We hope you enjoyed this brief construction montage.
So, after all that struggling, we got it pretty smooth. And I finally got this planer down to a point that I could keep it at least on track.
Liar! Liar!
But let me just tell you, invest in better tools. Not a little $10 Harbor Freight bench plane. But for as much flack as I'm giving it, it's flat now. Now, one thing I will give credit to is the 6-piece Windsor design wood chisels. These things are workhorses. 100% would not have been able to do this without those. Those are worth it. That is a deal at Harbor Freight. Definitely go get those. Make no mistake, there is a learning curve with chisels. One of the biggest things is learning how to sharpen them correctly and keeping them that way. If you look at this edge, just that little bit that I did on the wood, it's already got little fine nicks in it. So it's going to have to be sharpened again. They're only about as useful as about an hour of work, but definitely check these out. So let's get this mess cleaned up and get started on the top pieces. Clean, make bigger problem for the future. Same thing, right? Now let's see if we can use some of these cutoff pieces to achieve that 20-inch top. Please, Lord, give me 20 inches. Are you serious? So this, unfortunately, is just part of woodworking with reclaimed wood. But I'm starting to feel a new motto coming on, and that's, if you're not making mistakes, are you really woodworking? So, let's wing it. And before you come at me, yes, it's perfectly fine to do this. I would just recommend maybe clamping it down. So now that we have the sides and the top pieces, we're going to get the inside bottom pieces done. And I have those out at about 17 3/4, and that gives us a little bit of room, about 1/8 of an inch, just in case we need to shave them off at the end. So now that we have the sides and the top and the bottom, there's a few face plates that we'll knock out measurements of at the end. And there's some pieces you can't see on the inside, but it all makes sense when we mock it up. So let's take 4 of these boards, which make up one side, set the other aside. We're going to go ahead and put these side by side and get a good look at how you're going to want these lined up. And that looks good to me. And now we're going to measure this inside. So basically what we're going to do is cut a piece that goes right here out of these scrap pieces that were left over. And we're going to leave room for the face plate to come in right here. So we'll measure that up, we'll get this cut, and we'll brad these together. And we'll be one step closer to having a nightstand. Let's do that. So since this is the side I want to show, I'm going to flip all these boards over. And because I want this to kind of be straight, I'm going to set up my level on the back wall. Not this one. Way too big. This little guy. One of the things I love about being a woodworker is that some of the tools that I'm using were given to me by other people. Like this level right here. It's my father-in-law's. And something about using these whenever I'm working makes me think about who gave it to me. And I really love my father-in-law. And there we have one side, rough, cut, mocked up. Let's go ahead and knock out the other one. That was very close to having a remix of the last video. When will I learn my lesson? Now we have two sides. So, as always, I made a mistake. So the bottom pieces have to sit on top of this piece that we just put in. And if you look closely, in my haste, I didn't even bother measuring to line them up. So, we get to rip this off and make it match this one now. Yay! At least I put enough brad nails in it. So I didn't show putting it back on. I basically just set it back on top and smacked it with a hammer a few times and put new brads in. So sometimes I'm just my own worst enemy. All those middle pieces that I had pre-cut at 17 3/4 and set aside, or at least I thought I set aside, I accidentally put in the same pile as the cutoffs. Editing this is embarrassing. So I ended up cutting those 17 3/4 to do the brad nail pieces that I just showed you, which was so frustrating because I'm working with a limited amount of this barnwood and don't get very many tries. But thankfully, if you remember from the last project, we used this wooden box that I found in the second story of the barn. There's some left over. And so I used that to finish up some of the pieces that I needed. Or you could just turn around because the wood is right behind you. So, if that's not reclaimed wood, I don't know what is. Here's a rough mock-up of what this nightstand is going to look like. This is only held together by this clamp right here. No nails, no glue, nothing yet. Hasn't even been sanded. But here's a rough mock-up look of what it might look like when we're done. I think it's going to look awesome. So here we go again with another unnecessary side quest. I don't know that I'll ever learn. And let me just say, there's a lot of unnecessary sanding. It literally added at least another hour and a half to my time. So here's just a little quick before and after sanding. And that's why sanding is necessary. So I've never done this before, but some of the wood got left out on the side of the barn and it got wet. And I need to sand this, and it's kind of a pain in the butt to sand when it's wet. So I'm going to use my little propane heater and just prop it up against it like that. And hopefully, fingers crossed, it'll take some of that moisture out. I don't know if you can see that, but there's steam coming out of it already. Oh wow, look at that. It's already kind of dry right there. Let's keep that up. Please don't set your workplace on fire. Pay close attention if you do this. This is awesome. It seems to be working. Check out how much lighter that is than this. It's drying. It just started snowing really hard. That's awesome. So I just wanted to say, don't be afraid to try new things. And although my workshop is filling with steam, it means I have dry wood. Check this out. It's working so well. Well, we have our top, our inside and front face pieces, and our sides. So, let's put it together. I'm going to start by putting one across the top just to stabilize the whole piece and make it easier to work with. It may not even be perfect. I really just need something to keep all this together since I'm juggling it all. An extra pair of hands would be nice right now, but unfortunately all my helpers were preoccupied by video games. Really, after I got that first piece in, the rest of it was kind of a breeze. It's just plug and play. You already cut the pieces. Just put them in. I say that, I'm also known to mess things up, so maybe actually take your time. Joke's on you, this entire project was an elaborate excuse to tell you to go watch my other video on how to build a mallet. Yeah, there it is. Now we're just going to finish it off with a router and a simple roundover bit. Here I'm just going back and cleaning up the spots that the roundover bit might have missed, but it's always a good idea to go over and just do a little finishing sanding on any project. And now for my favorite part. This is going to need a lot of oil. I might have mentioned it before, but I just really like using boiled linseed oil on barn wood or pallet wood. It looks really good. It just makes it pop. I mean, come on. Look at that.
Wow.
So normally this is it. And this is where I would say, now go build this. But I've got one more surprise that I think that my son is going to absolutely love. I picked these up when they were on sale at Walmart. It's just a string of USB powered LED tape lights, and we're going to put it around the back side of this and make this thing absolutely pop. He's going to love it. I didn't really decide to add the LED lights until after I did the finish. I just needed it to finish early, so I took a blowtorch to it to dry. Let's see what she does. Oh yeah, he's going to love that. Check this out. What do you think?
It's awesome!
So what do you wait for? Go build it.